Hello, bonjour, bonsoir. It's Mary Schiller, also known as Mary in Paris. I hope you are having an incredible day today. I already need a sip of water. Hold on. It is very, very warm here in Paris. So I have the air conditioners going. I'm hoping that my sound is okay. Despite that, I made the choice to do this from downstairs because even with the air conditioner upstairs, it was still quite warm up there. So here we are. I am seeing that I am live on YouTube and I'm hoping that I'm live on Facebook too. I'm just going to trust that I am and that you can hear me okay. Please feel free to comment at any time. I would love to make this an interactive discussion today, which is all about visibility, or should I say the fear of visibility. Pardon me. So if you are here with me live, say hello in the chat so I know who's watching. I can't tell right now, so please do say hi and tell me where you are coming in from on this gorgeous day. Is it starting to be more like fall where you are? Hi, Wendy. Nice to see you. Thanks, Wendy. Yeah, we are having a really big heat wave in Fahrenheit. It's in the mid 90s, and that is quite warm here. So if I look a little glossy, you'll know why. Thank you. So I am going to jump right into this topic because it is a biggie. It's a biggie. Oh, very hot in Boston too. Yeah, I believe it. It's like we're having a heat wave everywhere. Maybe, I guess that's the new norm. Anyways, so let's talk about visibility and the fear of visibility, because in my work with people, which I've now been doing since 2016. So as I'm talking to you, that's about 7+ years, working with other coaches who want to build their coaching businesses. That's a big stumbling block for them, visibility. And I have to start by saying that I absolutely love the coaching profession. A coach literally changed my entire life back in 2014 by writing a book and sharing it with people and being visible. And so ever since then, at first I didn't think about becoming a coach myself, but a couple of years after that, it seemed like the right move to make because I saw the power of coaching. I saw, bonjour, I saw how big a difference this coach made in my life. And I said to myself, I want to do something like that too. So if you are with me live and you're posting a comment, are you a coach yourself or do you want to be a coach? Because I have the greatest admiration for this profession. Like I said, because a coach changed my life. And then after becoming a coach myself, I realized that coaching is one of these professions where you really do get to explore so many parts of yourself in the process. When you coach people, you are digging deep within yourself, which is exciting on a daily basis. And then you're bringing what you find within yourself to those you help. So I can't tell who is posting. So forgive me, but you're a coach and newly minted content creator. Excellent. So if you are a coach and you're joining me live, let me know in the chat if you feel the same way that I do about this profession being one of the most transformational things we can do, because the way that coaches interact with people is on a level that we don't really see in other professions. I used to be an instructor at my local university in San Luis Obispo, California, Cal Poly, go Cal Poly. And I had a lot of really beautiful interactions with students, and I enjoyed that very much. And when I saw the opportunity to become a coach myself, I thought, okay, that's like taking teaching to a whole other level, right? I agree, transformational, full of ahas. Yes, for ourselves as the coach and for the clients both. I feel like when I do a coaching session with someone, and again, if you're here with me, let me know if this rings true for you. When I'm in a coaching session with someone, I often feel like I get more from it than they do. Nice bonus, right? For being a professional coach, but it's true. It's absolutely true. And so I wasn't intending to start this talk about visibility with a discussion of the coaching profession, but it just seems appropriate because what we're talking about doing as coaches is so incredibly powerful and so meaningful and so expansive. I've never had anything else like it in my professional life. And again, welcome to those of you who are joining live. So happy to be here with you today, talking about visibility and the fear of it. And we're just going to work our way through that and get over that today. Does that sound like a good plan? Because I don't want a single coach to ever feel like they can't be visible and share what they have to offer with other people. I can feel myself actually getting kind of choked up about this because I have worked with so many coaches over the years, so many amazing people who have the most brilliant perspectives, who have the biggest hearts, who want so much to help others. And oftentimes, the one thing that is stopping them from doing that is this fear of being visible, this fear of putting themselves forward, of people seeing who they are and what they do, and expressing themselves. And I don't really have a good explanation as to why. I'm going to posit some ideas with you today. But if you are with me live and you're able to comment, do you have an idea about why so many coaches in particular, it may apply to other disciplines as well, but I'm talking about coaches today, why so many coaches are afraid to be visible? I can share, without naming names, some things that people have said to me over the years. Oh, fear of judgment. Hi, Oren. Fear of judgments. That's exactly what I was going to start with. So thank you for that nice lead in. I've heard people say that they are afraid that people are going to judge what they say, that they're going to receive nasty comments, or that people aren't going to understand them, that they're not going to come across the way that they really want to. They're also sometimes worried about what people in their lives might say if they run across them, their friends, family. If they're still in a job, they may feel some risk about being judged by their colleagues for having this other interest. Sometimes the judgment is around the idea that what they share as a coach may be very, very different from how they appear in the rest of their life, if that makes sense. Let me check a couple more comments. My fear is not appearing credible. I love camera time, LOL. So my reticence is a fear of being overlooked. Oh, that's interesting. So let me address that too. And Oren, I see your comment as well. Appearing credible. This is a big one too. And I've heard it from a few people. So you're not alone in that at all. I think that this fear stems from being worried that we're not going to produce a result for people. So we're putting ourselves forward as a coach, right? And yet we are nervous about whether we can actually help people get the result that they want. And so we wonder, am I going to come across as credible? You know, especially if we haven't had any clients, or we haven't had that many clients, or we haven't had any paying clients yet. I do think that there's this fear of putting ourselves forward in what is essentially a leadership position. When you decide to become visible, you are putting yourself forward as a leader, whether you want to or not. That's just what happens. We can't avoid being a leader when we step forward and decide to be visible as a coach. And so that can make people uncomfortable. Like they may feel like they don't want to be a leader. They don't want to be, seen as someone in front, if that makes sense. Or as you said, we want to be perceived as credible, but how do we do that? Or in feeling not enough, or thinking that this has been said before, feeling like an imposter. Yes. So that's kind of what I'm referring to. So, a lot of coaches who are afraid to be visible do have this idea that whatever they are offering, or whatever they are sharing, whatever they are telling people, whatever they're doing to offer help isn't enough. They feel like they aren't enough, and they feel like what they are offering may not be enough either. And so this is a real challenge for a lot of coaches who want to have their own business, because obviously, if we want to have a successful business of any kind, but definitely a coaching business, we have to show up. We have to be visible. We have to put ourselves in front of people somehow, some way. It doesn't have to be doing a YouTube live like this. It doesn't have to be that, but it needs to be something. Let's see. Interesting. My follow-up question is, what does being overlooked mean to you? Does it mean disapproval, indifference, not standing out? Oh, that's interesting. I feel like there's a lot going on in that question, and also the other question about, the being afraid that you're going to be overlooked. Here's what I will say to answer that. When we put ourselves forward, when we decide to be visible, guess what happens? The exact people who are looking for what we offer start to show up. They start to appear. It's almost like a magic trick. We have this idea that we need to somehow go out and find people. We need to find our audience. We need to find clients. We need to go out there and hunt them down or something. It's not like that. It's just the reverse of that, where we need to show up so they find us. We need to show up so they find us. So we aren't going out and hunting people down to become part of our audience. We are simply showing up in some way consistently, whatever that means for you, and people start to find us. Let's see. Let me know if that answers your question at all. For people to stay on a post or read an email from me, I need to feel they know their stuff, have a proven track record, so I assume that of others too. Everyone who starts their own business, let's talk about coaching. Everyone who starts a coaching business starts in the same place, with zero. We start with 0 followers, 0 email list subscribers, 0 clients. We need to be visible to build our credibility in people's eyes. It's not that we aren't credible to start with, because we are. You know what you're doing. If you are here and watching this, I know 100% that you are a fully capable coach who is amazing at what you do and knows how to help people. And you simply need to show up often enough in some way that people start to notice that about you. A big piece of this in terms of visibility, a big piece of visibility is not disappearing And I know that sounds kind of humorous when I'm saying that, but it's a fact. For example, today, just before I came on here live, I got an email from someone who I am sure I joined their list at some point because it didn't look like spam or anything. I had no recollection whatsoever as to who they were, why I was on their list or anything. So I clicked on subscribe. Now, I'm not saying you need to email your subscribers every day once you start to have them, but you do need to show up consistently on some sort of schedule so people remember you, so you don't disappear into the ether. We need to stay in front of people in some way. Let's see. That's a concept that is slowly gaining traction for me. Show up and they will come, like I am Kevin Costner in the movie, right? So a lot of people disagree with me on this. They'll say, that build it and they will come thing isn't reality online. I am 100% telling you that when you show up consistently, people will start to find you. They absolutely will. One of the things that I have started to do recently, I will just share with you a little bit about what I've been doing behind the scenes, and maybe you've started to notice this. So this has been helpful to me already. I've started to show up where people already are. So, for example, I am doing this live stream both on YouTube and into my community that I have for my 5K Coach Club members. I am showing up on YouTube because I know that people go to YouTube all the time looking for help related to having an online business, and specifically an online coaching business, because I've done that. I have done that. So I'm putting myself in places where people already are. Another experiment that I have been doing recently is I started to show up on live events and also through some courses and other things on the Insight Timer app. Now, that's been very interesting because I'm very new to that app. I only have 2 courses on there and I think 3 free audios. My first live event, and I don't have that many followers. I think at last count, it was around 65 as I'm talking to you. The first live event that I did a few days ago had a total of, I believe it was like 80 something people who at some point were on that 1 hour event with me live. The live event that I did yesterday, I think it was, on Insight Timer had twice as many people as that. And I even got a couple of donations during that event, which was amazing. And I realized, okay, for the type of life coaching that I enjoy doing and would like to do more of, Insight Timer is where people already are. They see me come up if they're on the app. They see me as an option when I'm live and they can click on it. So I'm saving time by showing up where people already are. Let's see. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you so much. Something happened in my private life that resonates so much with this message. You can only be yourself and your people will show up. Yes. So true. And I'm really glad that you put it that way, Oren, because if we're trying to show up and be visible in a way that feels fake, in a way that's kind of that fake it till you make it thing, it's not going to work. People will see right through it. And if we want to be a coach, we've got to be real. We have to be genuine. We have to be ourselves. We can't put on airs. We can't, be fancy schmancy if we're not fancy schmancy in our real life. We can't have some sort of fake brand that we develop. We have to be visible as ourselves, because visibility ultimately is a form of self-expression. It's you being you. It's you sharing what's in your heart. It's you connecting with people. It's you being as real as you can possibly be and letting people know that you're there for them as yourself, as a professional, but as yourself. I talk about Insight Timer. Kudos to me. Oh, thank you. No, it's true. I did not know what that app was. I had not heard of it before. And then a wonderful person in my 5K coach club mentioned it to me and came to one of our group Zoom sessions and shared the ins and outs of it. And I thought, oh, hey, I'm going to try that. I made it an account on there first as a user, a listener, and then I did the teacher account. I put a couple of audios on there, I kind of left it alone. And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to go back there and put a couple of courses on there. So I have 2 on there now. One of them has close to 600 students in it already, which is wild to me. The other one has something like 150. And I've done these 2 live events. I have another live event coming up in a few days as I'm talking to you. And I really find it fun to talk with people in an environment like that who I know, as I said, are already interested in what I'm talking about, because the app itself is for people who are interested in all sorts of things related to personal transformation. So yes, Medium as well, and yes, you've been following me on Medium. I had I should say, another Medium account that I published on years ago, kind of forgot about it. It didn't really interest me. And then just recently I thought, I'm going to go back there. So I started a different account. I thought I'm going to start fresh, start again. And I started publishing some stories on Medium, documenting a process that I'm going through, revamping my business right now and charting some of my ups and downs and my process getting started on Udemy as a course creator on there and on Insight Timer. And I was shocked to see how quickly I started to build an audience on there. It only took, I don't know exactly how many stories I have on Medium right now. I think it's probably maybe about 8 or something like that. And I've published 1 a day for the past few days. And I suddenly have people following me. I have people clapping for me. And I've actually made a little bit of money already. I literally just put all of my stories behind the Medium paywall about 2 days ago. And I think I've made about $4. Now, you might say, well, that's not that much money, but think about the visibility that I am getting there. I'm now in front of an audience of people. And because of what I am writing about and how I'm tagging things, they're already looking for these topics. So what I'm trying to say here about being visible is that you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You can go to platforms where people already are talking about what you want to share with them, and you'll already have interested people. Another thing that has been incredibly helpful to me with visibility, and if you are fearful of it, this is a great suggestion, is I have been interviewed by a lot of people over the years. I've also sort of done co-talks with people. So they will invite me onto their program and we will sort of do a co-chat about something, or they will do an interview with me. And that has been really fun. It's sort of taken all the pressure off of me. Not that I feel pressure, but I know a lot of people can, because I'm sharing the stage with someone else. Hi, Anton. Share and show up and the right people will find you. Yes. Seeing the absolute simplicity of this all over again. Great. Self-expression is everything. For me, it's about finding places where I can do that without people thinking, don't you have a day job? My preference is to be a little under the radar for now, at least. Okay. Yes, and Oran agrees that visibility equals self-expression. And as far as being under the radar, that's okay. This isn't a high pressure thing. And my sense is that when people who want to have their own coaching business, when they start to tune into this notion that I've put out there, that visibility equals self-expression, that's really what this is about. They start to enjoy it more. They start to see, oh gosh, I actually really like giving talks, or I like writing these posts on Medium, or I like having a Substack newsletter, or whatever it is. There's so many options now and ways that we can reach people that it can be a little bit addictive in a good way. For instance, I am also using Udemy, I've literally just started. I'm using that as a visibility platform as well. I am creating one Udemy course a week and getting it up online. I now have one free course and 2 paid courses on Udemy, and I've done that very quickly. And for me, that's a really fun way to express myself through creating online courses like that. Just like on Insight Timer, I have a blast creating audio courses since that's an audio-based app. I love doing audio, always have. And so you may find, Anton and others listening, that when you start to use visibility as a form of self-expression, it starts to get really creative and fun, and you literally can't wait to do whatever it is every day that you're doing. For a lot of people, that is social media. A lot of people love making posts on Instagram, doing Instagram stories and reels, and also on Facebook. I have been less enamored by those places, and I have been much more excited by places like YouTube, by places like Amazon. I also consider my books on Amazon to be a form of visibility. I've got a lot more in the works as we speak. So you need to try different things and see what feels good to you. I don't want you to be visible for the sake of being visible somewhere if you hate what you're doing, because that really isn't going to work. It defeats the whole purpose. We are here to have fun. We're here to help people. We're here to make money, yes, but we're also here to express what's inside us, and that's the most important thing of all. Seems like many people have a side gig or some other pursuits in life. I wonder if you can push that aside, being under the radar. Oh, interesting. Yes. So I think that there is some fear of visibility if you have another job and maybe you're wondering if your employer won't like you doing this. That's something you'll have to address with them. I think that there is absolutely a way to do that is appropriate and fine, but that's something that you need to navigate and listen to that inner guidance. Hi, Oren. My take on this is show up the way that suits you and make it enjoyable for you. Absolutely. Maybe part of the fear of visibility is looking at how other people do it and thinking that that's what you have to do. That's not what you have to do. What you have to do is do it your way. You have to show up in a way that feels great to you. Express yourself in a way that's fun and exciting and interesting. Your enthusiasm will carry you a long way. We had some comments earlier about coming across as credible and maybe even professional. My attitude is that I shouldn't say that. I don't want to hide who I really am. I don't want to hide who I really am. I did that for a long time in my life, and I'm not doing that anymore. So if someone comes across me and I'm not their cup of tea, sending them love, and it's totally fine. It's absolutely okay. I should add that over the years that I have been a coach now, I actually published my first book before I became a coach. I have had so few negative reviews on my books and negative comments on my videos. It's so rare that it's just not ever been anything I've worried about. And if somebody does leave a bad review on one of my books, let's say, I always feel like, well, at least they read it. I could tell that they read it from the comment they left. So that's good. You know, maybe they'll come back to it later on and have a different opinion. I don't know. Oren says, I love writing, but writing is not as sexy as video. Oh, I disagree with that. I absolutely disagree with that. I have been spending quite a bit of time on Medium lately since I started publishing on there. I have been amazed at the writing that I have seen. Yes, there is some that's not as good, but a lot of the writing that I've come across has been very, very high quality. I can tell that people put a lot of thought into what they share on Medium. And I really find it a fascinating platform, and I'm really enjoying writing for it myself. And I have been a writer my whole life, basically. So it comes very easily to me, and I enjoy it. If I were to look at, if you know me, if you're on here, you can probably tell that the ways that I like to express myself and be visible are live events. I enjoy the interaction of live events so much. It's really, I think, probably my favorite way of showing up. And because I love the interaction, I like the spontaneity of it. I like not having a script to work from. I find that really thrilling and exciting. So that's probably my favorite. I do, of course, love writing, and I do see my books as a representation of myself and a form of visibility. I also love doing the audios. That's been a huge part of my life and my business for a very long time. And I like creating courses. So those are kind of my suite of things that I enjoy doing. You will have your own suite of media that you enjoy using to show up and be visible. Maybe you haven't quite figured that out yet. My suggestion would be, if you haven't figured out exactly how you like to be visible, do one thing in that regard for a period of time. We have to give ourselves enough time to see if we actually enjoy it. I see a lot of people who will start something new. Let's say they start writing on Medium, or they start using Instagram. And in the beginning of anything, it's just hard. It just is. But we have to stick with it long enough to see, is this something I enjoy? Do I actually like the connections I'm making with people through this medium or not? But give it enough time. Don't try it once or twice and go, oh, I don't like it, or, oh, it's not working. I think a lot of times we think, oh, it's not working, and we use that as an excuse to disappear again. Don't do that. Don't use the excuse of, oh, well, I've been on there a few times and it's not working. Don't use that as an excuse to hide. Keep going, keep trying, give it time to see if you start to see results and if you like it. Yes, find the sweet spot for yourself. That's a beautiful way of saying this, because that's what it is. It takes time to know what you really enjoy and what is ultimately going to help your business. And I think those two things are the same, because when you show up in a way that you enjoy, that is going to help your business grow. If you're showing up in a way that you don't enjoy because you think you're supposed to, that's not going to help your business grow. Or if it does, it's going to be really painful and unenjoyable, and you're going to quit. And that's what I don't want to happen. So if you're with me live, what other questions do you have about this visibility piece and any fears that you've had about this? I would say that this fear of visibility is probably the number one challenge that I have heard about over the years. The other one would be being afraid to charge for their coaching. Those are the top two things. The top two things of challenges I hear from coaches are, I'm afraid to be visible and I'm afraid to charge for what I do. Here we're talking about the visibility piece. I can talk about the fear of charging money for coaching in another video, but I'm not exaggerating when I say this, that it is one of my deepest dreams and hopes that if you are listening to this today, or if you're listening to this on a replay somewhere, if you have something that you want to share with people, please express it. The world is not going to get better by us hiding ourselves, by us being afraid to show up, by us being afraid to step forward as leaders. That isn't going to help change the world. What will change the world is when more of us use our voices to express what is within us and to connect with people who we can support in some way. That is what will transform things. That's going to change the world. And isn't that what you want to do? I mean, what else are we here for? I'm not ashamed to say that one of the reasons that I'm doing what I'm doing is because I want to change the world. And my aim was to help other coaches to get their businesses off the ground, because I know the power of coaching. I can't coach every person, but I can coach a bunch of coaches who then go out and exponentially help a whole lot of people. That was the way that I got started working with coaches, because I thought, okay, I have some skills that they need to learn. I can teach them, and then they can go out and help more people. But I can only do so much. I need every coach out there who wants to do this, who wants more than anything to be that kind of support for another human being and potentially change their own life in the process through the transformational aspect of coaching, as well as having your own business. I need every person who wants to do that to get out there and be visible. So what is holding you back? What is holding you back from showing up and being yourself and expressing yourself to people so that they can find you? You need to be literally that beacon that people see and hear in the dark when they are challenged. That needs to be you. They need to be able to see you, and they can't see you if you keep yourself in hiding. Someone right now is looking for you. They are looking for the answer to a problem that has been in their life for a long time, and you have that answer for them. And yet they may not be finding you because you're not being visible. Yes, visibility is about self-expression. It's also, in sort of a paradoxical way, about getting out of our own way. It's about showing up for others, not just for ourselves. I believe in showing up for ourselves and being visible for that reason. I also know that on those days when I don't feel like being visible today, on those days, what drives me is maybe I can help someone today. Maybe I can write something on Medium that will help someone. Maybe I can say something on a live stream that can help someone. Maybe I can write an email and direct them to something that helps them. Maybe I can do something for someone else today. To me, that is an extremely important part of this whole visibility equation. Visibility means thinking of who out there needs something that you can provide. The content that you put forth, of course, can be a beautiful expression of yourself, and it can also be incredibly powerful for the person receiving it. I have an interesting story to tell you about something that happened on a live event that I hosted, the second one I did on Insight Timer, which I believe was yesterday. I've kind of lost track of the days already. But anyway, I ended the live event by telling a story that had nothing to do with the topic we were talking about, but the subject came up very tangentially in a comment that someone made. And I was like, oh, I have a really interesting story about that. I'll share it at the very end of this live event. So I shared this story. I'm not going to go into it now, and it was really, really fun story for me to tell, something that happened when I was about 13 years old. That was one of the more magical experiences of my life in terms of nature. And I had so much fun telling this story, and people were so into it on this live event. Their comments were really fun, and someone even said, oh, your enthusiasm is contagious. And I thought, you know what? If people leave this live event only remembering this story that had nothing to do with anything else I was talking about, and it gave them a nice feeling, then I have done my job. I've done what I was supposed to do. So don't ignore the possibility that even just telling a simple story from your life, from your day, from anything like that, could be the thing that lights someone up. For example, you need me to do a TED Talk. That would be really fun. I would love to do a TED Talk. I did apply to do one years ago and never heard anything, but maybe I'll try again. Maybe that's a sign or that I should try again. But like today, I'll tell you a story from today. One of the lovely members of my 5K Coach Club is actually here in Paris on vacation this week with her family, her sister, her mother, some other relatives. And we had the opportunity today to meet up. It was a very short window of time that we had, but we managed to connect and we found each other. And we had a nice drink out in the warmth of Paris. I'm just going to say that. We were in some shade, but man, it's hot today. But we had such a fun time connecting with each other. We couldn't believe that even though we're from completely different parts of the world, they live in the United States, I live here. We met online through another person. We were able to connect in person finally and give each other a nice hug. It was just the most delightful experience. And I thought, this would never have happened if I hadn't shown up, if I hadn't been visible. There's another client of mine who I haven't, she hasn't been in any programs lately, but someone I met online years ago, way before I became a coach. She got connected to me in a whole different way online. We had been connected online for, gosh, how many years by that point? Probably about 7 or 8 years. She lives in Japan. I never in a gazillion years thought we would ever meet each other. But guess what? A few years ago, I think it was 2019. Was it 2019? I believe it was 2019. I had a reason to go to Japan and I met up with her. And it was just the most amazing thing. And I kept thinking to myself, this wouldn't have been possible if I hadn't gotten out of my own way, stopped listening to any fears that kept cropping up about my credibility and all that. If I hadn't put myself forward, I never would have had this beautiful relationship all these years. That's what this is about for me. It's not just about self-expression. It's not just about being a coach. It's not just about connecting with people. It's not just about earning money. It's about relationships that form. The relationships that I have formed since I became a coach are some of the most spectacular I have ever had. I am so grateful for everyone who is here and listening to me. I love each and every one of you more than I could say. And everyone who has been in and out of my community over the years has just meant the world to me. So if you need a reason to start showing up, know that you can form some of the most beautiful relationships ever by making yourself visible and putting yourself forward. So what other questions do you have before I sign off on this talk today about visibility? I'm hoping this has been helpful to you and that perhaps you're seeing visibility and the fear about it in a different way, from a different perspective. The world needs you. People need you. They're waiting for you right now. Don't worry about the people who don't appreciate what you're doing. They will disappear. They might be there for an instant, but then they're going to vanish. And the people who are left are your people, the people who want to hear from you. Those are the people you're talking to. I often say you're only talking to people who love you. When you are being visible, you're only talking to people who love you, because everybody else is going to disappear. You don't have to do anything about that. And the people who appreciate you and want to hear from you will stick around, and they will tell you how much they appreciate you. Is that an incentive for you to get out there today and be visible? What I would love, if you're on here live and you can type into the chat, what I would love is for you to say in the chat right now, I'm going to do something this week to be visible. I'm going to do one thing this week to be visible. Hi, Anton. Seeing so many options, already started sharing and contributing on a dad's online community. Oh, that's nice. I've spotted an option to share your stuff in one of their channels. That's amazing. open invitation to write a Medium post or maybe even share an audio. That's fantastic. That's exactly what I'm talking about, where you're in a community of people who are already interested in a topic. That's brilliant. It's the best thing you can possibly do, because then you're not having to sort of create an audience. You're already in a place where people are open to these ideas. So that's beautiful. I love that. So do you have an idea for how you can be visible this week? And will you do it? That's the most important thing. We can have a million ideas about being visible, but the key is to start. It doesn't matter if you feel uncomfortable, just do it anyway. It doesn't matter if nobody sees whatever you share, just do it anyway. Remember, you're doing this for your own self-expression as well as starting to be that beacon for people, and you have to start somewhere. You can submit something to share your stuff. Yes, excellent, Orn. I love that. Do anything you want. Anything to be visible this week is acceptable and excellent. Well, this has been so much fun. I have several more YouTube lives coming up. I'd like to do this regularly because I enjoy being on this platform, and I like showing up for my 5K Coach Club members as well inside our community, so we can continue the discussion there. And I invite you to visit my website to see what's new anytime, www.maryinparis.com. Please feel free to search for me on Udemy as well. The link is in the description. And I just can't wait to have our next conversation on whatever the topic is. I'm sending you all my love today. I hope that you are having the best day ever, wherever you are in the world. And I will see you again very soon. Bye for now. Thank you so much for joining.